KC Singh, your view, the first opportunity in a way since Galwan for the two sides to meet face to face, should we be taking advantage of it or wait to see what the Chinese have to say before we even agree to any kind of direct communication between the two leaders?
Rajdeep, we already know what the Chinese want to say, because after the so-called withdrawal from Gogra Hot Springs, their foreign ministry spokesman contextualized it. He said there's no question of status quo ante, because we haven't crossed the LAC, India has. And what complicates is that the Prime Minister right at the beginning said Chinese have not crossed the LAC. No, therefore I totally agree with Mr. Sibal and Ramchalani that first you have to make a determination whether China strategically is willing to live with a rising India. If they are not strategically willing to live with it, and they want to use the LAC to exert pressure on us every now and then to condition India's behavior, then obviously it's not going to work in a pull-aside meeting at a summit of 8 odd countries. If you want to have a serious engagement, summitry must be prepared for. You should know what the ground rules are, you should know what you're trying to achieve, because when summitry fails at the highest level, there's no other level to go to. In fact, Henry Kissinger has said that very, very clearly. He said, you do not go to summitry until you have prepared the ground and you know what you're going to achieve through the meeting. Prime ministers and presidents don't meet to figure out what they cannot agree on. You know, that is embarrassing for both. We know what the Chinese want to. And Chinese have a habit of stepping back, slightly easing the pressure at the LAC when they want you to attend something like SCO. You see, for both, the focus is on Putin and Xi. The focus is on what they're going to do together. They're already there. They have met. Focus is not on India. Focus is not on what we're going to do with Chinese. Shake hands with him by all means. And you are at the summit. What you have to say, you can say it through your statement at the summit, directly or indirectly.
Right.
But summitry should be when you're ready for it and you know the Chinese are ready for it.
You know, that's interesting because remember, we've had these summits, the Wuhan spirit, the Mahabalipuram spirit, the Ahmedabad spirit, but it's never really quite worked out. So it seems almost all of you seem to have a consensus. Do not trust the Chinese. Do not move a step forward at this moment. Let's look from there, because the Chinese will be there. Putin is there. And importantly, so are the Pakistanis. G. Parthasarathi, your old friend, as you said, Shahbaz Sharif there, whom you said relatively is someone who is a sharp politician, perhaps even sharper than his brother Nawaz Sharif. Should India be reaching out to Pakistan at all at a moment like this, given the fact that Pakistan still really hasn't fully acted against the 2611 perpetrators and the terrorists?
I don't regard all this as reaching out. Your officials make the preparations, they take the call and they tell you. Now it's the political judgment of the Prime Minister to make. I think, yes, with regard to Xi Jinping, there is a measure of uncertainty, but we've always had a measure of uncertainty with China. And the fact is that the talks have produced 50% of the results we wanted. So are we not going to say that we're not going to talk about the remaining 50%? So I'm not saying go and ask for a meeting. If there is a mutual agreement that there should be a meeting, you can't refuse a meeting with the Chinese Prime Minister or with any other head of government. So let us see what the preparations are. And if in the preparations we come to the conclusion that they are not going to yield, after all, they earlier on said they were going to yield nothing.
No, but what about Shahbaz? No, what about Shahbaz Sharif? What about Shahbaz Sharif?
In the north, I have my in the north. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. In the north, that area is located right across Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and leads to the Karakoram Pass. So it's a highly strategic matter. It will require a lot of discussion and perhaps some compromise which will be found out. But as I said, it is for the call for the Prime Ministers after they have taken into account what their advisors have said.
Okay.